What if I told you the greatest danger to your power, your respect, and even your safety is not your enemies, but your own tongue? Too many men destroy themselves not by what they do, but by what they reveal. Today, we solve that problem. I will show you 7 secrets you must never share if you wish to live with strength and authority. I am Niccolò Machiavelli, and I have studied the rise and fall of princes, rulers, and men of ambition. In my writings, I revealed how power is won and how it is lost. One truth remains: eternal silence protects more than speech. What you hide makes you strong, what you reveal makes you vulnerable. What if I told you that the greatest danger to your power, your respect, and even your survival is not your rivals, not your enemies, not even the forces of fate, but your own tongue? Yes, the sharpest weapon of destruction is not the sword, but the words you let slip into the ears of others. Too many men have ruined themselves not because they lacked strength, not because they lacked intelligence, but because they revealed too much of themselves. They believe that honesty is always noble, that transparency wins trust, that sharing all earns loyalty. But history, my friends, teaches otherwise. Men are not destroyed because of what they hold back, but because of what they let escape. A single careless confession has toppled kings. A single truth spoken to the wrong ear has ended empires. A single secret, whispered in confidence, has betrayed more men than 1,000 armies ever could. You see, the moment you share too much, you no longer hold your power. You have handed it over. You have placed your destiny into the hands of another. And trust me when I say this, no man can be trusted with the weapons that can kill you. Consider this: when you reveal your weakness, what happens? Do men rush to defend you? Do they honor your honesty? No. They remember it. They store it. They hide it like an arrow in their quiver, waiting for the day it can strike your heart. When you reveal your ambitions, what happens? Do others cheer you on? Do they raise you higher? No. They grow jealous. They grow suspicious. They begin to whisper, to plot, to form alliances to stop you before you rise above them. When you reveal the cracks in your family, your household, your private struggles, what happens? Men who once smiled at your table begin to smell blood. They do not come to heal your wounds. They come to widen them. This is the harsh truth of the world, one that no man can ignore. Every word you speak has a price. Every confession has a cost. Every revelation is a risk. And those who survive, those who thrive, those who command respect and maintain their power, are those who understand the art of silence. We live in a time where men are encouraged to overshare, to pour their hearts into the open, to believe that being vulnerable is a virtue. But do you know what vulnerability truly is? It is the opening of the gates. It is placing your treasures before strangers and hoping they will not take them. It is showing your enemy where your fortress wall is weakest and praying he will not attack there. It is foolishness disguised as courage, and it is the downfall of many. The great rulers of history did not rise by telling the world their every thought, their every plan, their every secret. No. They spoke only what was necessary, and they concealed the rest. Their silence was their armor, their mystery their weapon. Men feared them, not because they shouted, but because they remained unreadable. Their rivals trembled, not at what they knew, but at what they could not know, for nothing terrifies an enemy more than uncertainty. Think about your own life. Have you ever told someone something in confidence, only to see it used against you later? Have you ever shared your plans, only to find obstacles suddenly appearing in your path, as if the very world conspired against you? Have you ever confessed your weakness, hoping for understanding, and instead received judgment, ridicule, or betrayal? Of course you have. Every man has, and yet we do not learn. We continue to reveal. We continue to trust. We continue to believe that words, once spoken, will not be twisted. But they will. They always will. You must understand, when you speak too much, you give others power over you. You give them knowledge, and knowledge is a blade sharper than steel. With it, they can wound you, blackmail you, manipulate you, control you. You become a puppet, and the strings are the very words you once thought harmless. Now, I ask you, how many lives would have been spared, how many empires saved, how many reputations preserved, if only men had kept their secrets? How many betrayals could have been avoided if the tongue had been chained? How much power could have been retained if silence had been honored? This is the problem we are here to solve. The world is filled with dangers, but the most dangerous of all is your own mouth. Speak too much, and you weaken yourself. Speak too freely, and you dig your own grave. But guard your secrets, guard your plans, guard your inner self, and you will discover the truth that princes, rulers, and men of wisdom have always known. Silence is not emptiness, it is strength. It is not weakness, it is protection. It is not the absence of words, but the presence of power. Wisdom, my friends, does not lie only in what a man speaks, but in what he restrains. The power of silence is often greater than the power of eloquence. For words once spoken cannot be reclaimed, but silence can never be twisted. In the courts of rulers, in the halls of ambition, in the dealings of merchants, and in the schemes of princes, it is not the one who speaks the most who holds the advantage. It is the one who speaks the least, yet listens the most. Men believe that by speaking they win influence, that by revealing their thoughts they appear clever, that by opening their hearts they gain loyalty. But this is the thinking of fools. The wise man, the man who wishes to endure, to command, to lead, knows that every word must be measured, every confession weighed, every revelation considered as if it were gold. For speech, once released, is like a spark that can ignite a fire beyond your control. And silence, carefully kept, is like water, cool, still, unshakable. Consider how men are deceived. They think themselves intelligent when they manage to draw words from another. They take pride in learning what was meant to remain hidden. They will flatter you. They will pretend to be your ally. They will present themselves as harmless, only to make you speak more than you intended. And once you have spoken, they no longer see you as strong. They see you as open, predictable, and therefore vulnerable. Machiavellian wisdom is to understand that silence is not merely the absence of words, but the presence of control. To conceal your intentions is to keep your rivals in the dark, to confuse them, to make them unsure of your next move. This uncertainty forces them to hesitate, to miscalculate, to waste their strength striking at shadows, while you quietly prepare your real attack. It is always better to let men underestimate you, because they cannot read you, than to let them prepare against you, because you have spoken too much. Remember, perception rules the world more than truth. Men are governed not by reality, but by what they believe reality to be. If you speak too openly, you reveal your true hand, and perception shifts against you. But if you remain silent, you allow others to imagine, to speculate, to fill the void with their own fears and uncertainties. And this, my friends, is where true power lies. Not in words, but in the silence that compels others to invent their own truths. History has taught us this lesson countless times. The rulers who boasted of their power were often the ones overthrown first, for their enemies knew where to strike. The generals who declared their strategies before battle often lost, for the enemy prepared against them. The merchants who bragged of their riches soon found themselves robbed, for envy was awakened in the hearts of others. Meanwhile, those who concealed, those who disguised, those who spoke little, advanced without resistance. Their rivals could not stop what they could not see, could not counter what they could not predict. Ask yourself who holds more power: the man who speaks every thought that comes to his mind, or the man who speaks only when it serves his purpose? Who is more feared? The one who lays his soul bare to the world, or the one whose mind remains impenetrable? Who endures longer? The one who reveals his plans openly, or the one whose actions arrive like thunder, with no warning? The answer is clear. Wisdom lies in the art of concealment. To be silent when others are speaking, to observe when others reveal, to withhold when others confess. This is the way of the prince who wishes to stand above men. He does not silence himself out of weakness, but out of strength. His silence is not ignorance, but strategy. His restraint is not timidity, but mastery. When you learn to hold your tongue, you gain a weapon more powerful than any sword. For a sword can cut only the body, but silence can enslave the mind. Men become uneasy before the silent one. They begin to doubt themselves. They question their own knowledge. They reveal more than they intend. They betray their own positions. All because they cannot pierce the veil of your silence. And while they are exposing themselves, you remain hidden, gathering advantage, ready to strike when the moment is ripe. Understand this truth: the man who guards his tongue is the man who guards his throne. The man who conceals his knowledge is the man who keeps his power. The man who wraps his plans in silence is the man who shapes destiny, while others waste themselves in idle chatter. For it is not always the most eloquent who rules, but the most discreet. There are certain truths that, once spoken, no longer belong to you. They become weapons in the hands of others. They become the whispers in corridors, the subjects of envy, the seeds of betrayal. These truths are your secrets, and not all secrets are created equal. Some are harmless, some are trivial, some may even be shared without consequence. But there are seven which must never pass your lips, 7 that must be guarded more fiercely than a crown, more jealously than a treasure. To reveal them is to surrender power. To keep them is to hold dominion over yourself and over others. The first is your weaknesses. Every man carries them. Every ruler conceals them. To reveal where you are vulnerable is to dig your own grave. Men may smile when you confess your flaws, but they do not forget. They wait, they watch, they strike when you least expect it. Imagine a fortress with one broken wall. Would any enemy not aim their attack there? So too with you. If you show where you bleed, the dagger will always find its way to that wound. The second is your true ambitions. Speak them aloud, and you summon opposition before your ascent even begins. Men cannot resist the urge to drag down the one who declares his climb. Your rivals will unite, not because they hate you, but because they fear you. They will conspire to stop you before you rise too high. The wise man does not announce his climb. He climbs in silence, and when the summit is reached, all others can only look upward in shock. The third is your family struggles. Never let the world know the cracks within your household. For when enemies see discord, they do not bring peace. They bring pressure. They push deeper into the fractures, widening them until you collapse. A divided house is the easiest to conquer, and to reveal division is to invite invasion. Keep such matters behind closed doors, where the world cannot intrude. The fourth is your wealth. To display it too boldly awakens envy. To downplay it too much invites contempt. Both are dangerous. Speak openly of your gold, and you will find yourself surrounded by flatterers, thieves, and schemers who seek to drain it from you. Speak too little of it, and you may lose the respect that wealth commands. The only safe course is ambiguity. Let men wonder, let them guess. Let them remain uncertain whether you are richer or poorer than they think. Their ignorance protects you. The fifth is your future plans. The moment they are spoken, they become fragile, exposed to sabotage, to obstruction, to envy. Men will move to block them, to frustrate them, to turn them against you. A plan in silence grows strong, unopposed. A plan revealed is already under attack. The wise prince allows his actions to appear sudden, inevitable, as though born from fate itself, not design. Let your victories seem accidental, and none will have prepared to resist them. The sixth is your knowledge. Knowledge is a treasure greater than gold, and yet men squander it by speaking too freely. The more you reveal what you know, the less power it holds. Others will copy it, twist it, use it against you. Keep it guarded, and knowledge makes you formidable. Share it carelessly, and you reduce yourself to an ordinary man. The world will always seek to drain wisdom from the wise. It is your task to resist, to give only fragments, never the whole. The seventh and final is your inner thoughts. This is the deepest citadel, the final fortress of the self. To reveal what you truly think is to strip yourself bare, to surrender the last defense you have. Men will judge you, mock you, exploit you. They will twist your words to suit their purposes. They will parade your confessions as proof of your weakness. Keep your mind sealed, your thoughts your own. To be unreadable is to be untouchable. These 7 secrets, once given away, cannot be reclaimed. They are not like possessions that can be recovered, nor like wealth that can be regained. Once spoken, they live in the minds of others, free to be used, twisted, betrayed at will. Guard them fiercely. Protect them as though your life depends upon it. For in truth it does. A man who fails to guard his secrets is a man already half defeated. Power is not lost all at once, like a throne torn from beneath you. It slips away quietly, piece by piece, each time you allow another to see what should remain hidden. And so I give you this warning, a warning carved from the rise and ruin of princes, from the victories of generals, from the betrayals that stained courts and kingdoms alike. Guard your secrets, or you will live not as a ruler of your destiny, but as a servant to the knowledge others hold about you. Understand this: every ear that listens is also an enemy that waits. Every friend you confide in may one day turn, for loyalty is fragile, as shifting as the wind. Men are loyal only as long as loyalty serves their interest. When betrayal promises more, they will abandon you without hesitation. If you have given them secrets, you have armed them with the very daggers that will be driven into your back. Do not think this is only the fate of rulers and kings. No, it is the fate of every man who walks the earth. In the court of power, in the chambers of business, even in the small affairs of daily life, the man who speaks too freely makes himself prey. He imagines his words vanish after they are spoken, but they do not. They remain, they linger, they take root in the minds of those who hear them. And from those roots grow vines of envy, suspicion, resentment, and ambition. The warning is simple, but the cost of ignoring it is immense. Imagine a soldier who reveals to his enemy where his army will march tomorrow. Imagine a merchant who confesses the hidden weakness in his trade. Imagine a man who declares openly the ambition that burns in his heart. Do you think such men prosper? No, they are destroyed, not by the strength of others, but by the betrayal of their own tongue. You must also know this: secrecy is not cowardice. Many will tell you that silence is weakness, that openness shows courage, but this is a lie told by those who wish to strip you of your defenses. Secrecy is strength. Silence is command. Restraint is the very shield that protects you from ruin. When men cannot read you, they cannot predict you. When they cannot predict you, they cannot defeat you. Uncertainty is the greatest weapon you possess, and secrecy feeds it. A ruler who reveals his every thought, his every plan, his every desire, is no ruler at all. He is an open book, easily read, easily torn apart. His enemies will know where to press, where to attack, where to bleed him dry. And worse, his allies will no longer respect him, for mystery commands reverence, while exposure breeds contempt. The man who reveals everything becomes ordinary, and an ordinary man cannot rule. But consider the prince who holds back his words, who conceals his weaknesses, who guards his designs. His enemies grow restless, for they cannot predict his next move. His allies grow cautious, for they never know the full extent of his power. He stands like a shadow, ungraspable, untouchable, feared not for what is seen, but for what is hidden. This is the power that comes from secrecy, and it is the power that will sustain you when all else fails. The warning I give you is not born from theory, but from the blood of history. Princes were betrayed not because their enemies were clever, but because they themselves were careless. Empires fell not because they lacked armies, but because they lacked silence. Men lost their crowns not on the battlefield, but in the chamber, where a careless word became the seed of their downfall. And if such great men, with armies at their command and wealth beyond measure, could be undone by their tongue, how much more vulnerable are you, who walk without such defenses? Guard yourself. Speak only when necessary, and even then, reveal less than you know, less than you plan, less than you desire. Let your words serve you, not betray you. The man who speaks with caution rules with strength. The man who speaks carelessly rules only for a moment, before his throne is pulled away and his name becomes another warning in the long record of history. You have now seen the danger that lies not in armies, nor in assassins, but in words. Power is not stolen in a single strike. It leaks away each time you reveal what should have remained hidden. Weakness, ambition, family discord, wealth, future plans, knowledge, and the secrets of your own mind. These are the 7 truths that, once spoken, no longer belong to you. They become tools for others to use, weapons turned against you, shadows that follow you until your downfall. Remember this: men are not destroyed because they are too silent, but because they are too open. They imagine honesty wins them allies, but in truth, it only wins them enemies who know exactly where to strike. Silence is not emptiness, it is strategy. Concealment is not weakness, it is protection. The wise man, the cunning prince, the ruler of his own fate, is not the one who reveals everything. He is the one who reveals nothing until the moment he chooses. Guard these 7 secrets with your life, for in them lies your strength, your authority, your survival. Speak carelessly, and you will be undone. Speak wisely, or not at all, and you will endure. For in the end, the tongue can crown you or betray you, but silence is silence, will always protect you.